heard of Nevada Tan. Maybe you've seen her without even knowing. I'm Brandi, and welcome to Killer Bites. Nevada Tan spoke rarely and liked to read a lot more than anything. Horror was her favorite genre, and Battle Royale was a favorite of hers, a Japanese Hunger Games style movie in which school children must battle to the death for the privilege of survival. She was cooped up in her room most of the time when she wasn't at school. Glued to her computer and the things you could find there in 2003, she'd made her own website on a blog hosting social network called Cafesta, where she created her own avatar and interacted with other users online. Here, she found a classmate there, 12-year-old Satomi, and before long, the two were hanging out in real life. Satomi was the youngest in her family, her mother dying of cancer only a year before. Her father worked for a local paper and, since her mother's death, moved the rest of the family to the city where Satomi would enroll at the same school Nevada went to. They had moved to the city of Sasebo in Japan's Nagasaki prefecture, where Satomi would attend the public Akubo Elementary School. With the opportunity to be closer, they took it and ended up joining the basketball club together. But when Nevada had to leave to focus on her schoolwork, they continued to keep in touch online. Alienated from this new school community, she dove deeper into the internet and socialized there more and more. As her contact outside of school dwindled, she began losing it a little, refusing to look people in the eye and acting out in fits that disrupted her classes. She ended up attacking another student, but had focused so successfully on her grades that teachers brushed off her weakening state. Nevada had wanted to become an author, a manga artist, and spent time in her room crafting her own stories. For another ambitious teenager, this hobby might have helped her confidence and give her something new to focus on. But Nevada liked writing in her favorite genre, and one of her tales resembled Battle Royale closely enough that it ended with detailed descriptions of how she'd murder every one of her other classmates. Satomi still kept in touch with Nevada, whether she knew her friend had imagined her death in vivid detail or not. But Nevada began to feel like their relationship was straining, like Satomi was giving her little slights and stuff like that. It's more than likely that Satomi didn't mean much by this stuff, and of course everyone's feelings were always valid, but it wouldn't be long before Nevada Tan would be taking this way too far. As her relationships with her classmates dissolved, so did her relationship with Satomi. And before long, she was regularly engaging in flame wars against anyone in school, or rather, they with her. And she decided to take a box cutter to school one day when the Cafesta criticism became too much. On June 1st, 2004, Satomi said she wanted to leave a Cafesta group that Nevada was moderating. When news reached her, she acted blasé to the other students, but at lunchtime decided to lure Satomi into a secluded part of the school. She brought her into a nearby study room on the 3rd floor for some privacy. There, she planted herself square in front of Satomi and told her, "Today you're going to die." Satomi didn't run from her old friend, and the 6th grader probably assumed it was a joke, or maybe Nevada was just being weird. But then Nevada asked her if she wanted a blindfold so she didn't have to see it. Satomi declined. Nevada grabbed Satomi's head with one hand and pulled the box cutter in her other. She drove the blade into Satomi's throat, cutting it across before the shocked schoolgirl fought free from her. In a matter of seconds, the severity of the wound left her too weak to defend herself, and Satomi collapsed. Nevada waited to make sure Satomi wasn't moving anymore. After a while, she returned to her classroom, completely covered in blood, box cutter still in hand. The teacher rushed to help her, assuming she'd hurt herself some way. But when her teacher found no marks, Nevada chillingly told the teacher, "This is not my blood," and led her distraught teacher to Satomi's body. Police were called right away by the teacher who discovered the two girls covered in blood, but unfortunately, Satomi's heart had already stopped by the time the paramedics arrived at the school. A man from the Sasebo Fire Department dispatched to the scene said a girl's body was lying face down on the floor. She was unconscious and not breathing. There was no heartbeat, and no one else was at the scene. Satomi's father described seeing his dead daughter. When I arrived, Satomi was already lying there, collapsed. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I can't put in words what I'm feeling right now. I can't understand it at all. I don't have a clue. he said. The scene of the attack would leave many students, faculty, and emergency responders with cases of PTSD, and the country was racked again by another student slaying. Nevada spent the night in jail, unable to confess any details or explanations to police or her own mother through her tears and profuse apologies. She'd later tell police that her motive was the comments Satomi was making about her online. She was indeed remorseful for the action she had taken that day, ending her best friend's life. She sobbed to the police as she told them, "I did something bad. I'm sorry." She told the police that the altercation started around May 27, 2004, when both girls were talking in a chat room. In this chat room, Nevada Tan discovered that Satomi and other classmates had been talking behind her back. She originally brushed off the insults as no big deal, but as the night went on, her rage began to boil over. The next day, on May 28th, her classmates again wrote in the chat room that Nevada was Buriko, and even though she deleted the message, Nevada had seen it. She replied, "I'll kill you." And then 2 days later, Nevada Tan carried out her plans and slit Satomi's throat. And as more details spread, nobody knew how to wrap their heads around two 6th grade girls ending up in a mess like this. The media reported that Nevada would be taken to court and enrolled in a special reformatory institution for children under 14 who'd committed crimes. The age limit for criminal responsibility had only recently been reduced after an equally brutal crime committed by a 14-year-old a few years before. Satomi was given a posthumous diploma from her elementary school, which her father accepted on her behalf. So did Nevada, and many students mourned the loss of both their classmates to mental illness and extraordinary violence. Despite being referred to officially as Girl A due to Japan's strict privacy laws around minors, Nevada's drawing and fan fictions were broadcast on Japanese television, and her photos quickly leaked online. In one of the photos that were leaked to the media, Nevada is wearing a big, baggy hoodie with the word Nevada on it, like the kind of sweater you'd get at a souvenir shop. And the internet took to that name as quickly and deeply as the memes floating around early 2000s message boards. The word tan is a Japanese honorific like san, sama, kun, or chan. It's typically used for women in situations where you closely know somebody like a family member or a close friend. It's also used primarily as internet slang. It can also be used as a term of affection for celebrities, such as idols, actresses, etc. Basically, the use of tan used in this story implies some sort of affection that lifts Nevada up from being a criminal into a form of celebrity status. So that's how she got the name Nevada Tan. And Nevada Tan quickly developed a cult following, fans quickly making her the subject of their own fan art and fictions. The Nevada shirt became a bestseller. Withheld from this celebrity, she was sentenced to 2 years of involuntary commitment at reformatory school and would stay there for another 3 years after failing psychological health milestones. She was formally diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at the only reformatory school in Japan that could put minors into solitary confinement, further piquing the curiosities of the public. She was thoroughly analyzed by highly trained professionals. They came to the conclusion that Nevada was heavily influenced by internet culture, and that she was a girl fascinated with urban legend, internet subculture, even going as far as Guro. From her site, she had linked shock flash movies and bizarre ASCII movies that would unnerve even the most hardened internet warriors. After spending 2 years in a psychiatric facility, she was released in 2008 back into society. She supposedly changed her name, and people are not exactly sure of her whereabouts. According to news reports, the Akubo Elementary turned the study room where Nevada attacked her victim into a place of rest for other students and faculty. It is said that the school's principal prays in this space every day. And that's the story of Nevada Tan, also known as the Sasebo slashing. I think it's pretty strange that this child killer ended up with a cult following, almost idolizing her. It just doesn't seem right. And it's also not something that commonly happens in Japan, or anywhere else for that matter. This murder case ended up sparking an ongoing debate in Japan about whether the age of criminal responsibility, which had been shifted from 16 to 14 in 2000 due to the 1997 Sakakibara murders in Kobe, needed to be shifted again. It also raised the important question regarding the exposure of the internet to young kids and the effect of the internet and hikikomori subculture on youth in Japan. What did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Brandi, and thanks for watching Killer Bites. Bye.